Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo calls on former President Jacob Zuma to provide an affidavit to the Commission into state capture through his lawyer.
And Parliament's inquiry into the nationalisation of the Gupta family is underway, while Home Affairs Minister Malusi Gigaba is yet to arrive.
In your business news, credit ratings agency Moody's says there is a slim chance it may change its stable outlook for the country, even though it is in a recession.
This and more coming up. First, a look at your main news.
Well, the chairperson of the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, has called on former President Jacob Zuma to provide an affidavit to the Commission through his lawyer in order to respond to the evidence of Fakey mentor and Themba Maseko.
Sometime last week, that the former President Jacob Zuma had taken the view that he is not implicated by any of the witnesses so far, and therefore that is why he did not apply for leave to cross-examine anybody. Nevertheless, there are some areas where I would like him to deal with. For example, the evidence by Ms. Mentor that while she was at the Gupta residence, when she got agitated and became loud, the former president emerged from one of the rooms and they spoke, and he walked her to the car, as well as the evidence by Mr. Maseko that he got a call from the former president on the afternoon on which he was leaving his offices to attend a meeting with Mr. Ajay Gupta. I have invited the lawyers for the former president and indicated my wish that he could put this in an affidavit, or could put his version in regard to those aspects in an affidavit to assist the commission. So I have extended that invitation to the former president to assist the commission by considering to deposing to an affidavit and deal with those two aspects. And his attorney is here, and he has undertaken to convey that invitation to him.
Well, Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has granted the former president's son, Duduzane Zuma, also permission to cross-examine former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas, meanwhile Zondo denying the Gupta brothers' application to appear via video link before the commission and to cross-examine. We spoke to a little bit earlier and we unpacked this a whole lot more now. Chriselda Lewis, thank you so much. We were right there on the scene. Clearly the message here is you need to be there, represent yourself and give a clear message and account for what exactly has happened.
Arabella, as I said to you earlier, this is something that we were not expecting, with Justice Zondo extending this invitation to the former President Jacob Zuma. And I think everyone is looking to that at this point, because we know what the attitude of former President Jacob Zuma has been regarding this particular commission. First of all, as I had earlier indicated, relating to not wanting to cross-examine those who had implicated him in state capture, the likes of Themba Maseko as well as the former ANC MP Fakey mentor. And just yesterday, if we look at and read between what the former president had said, verbatim, basically saying there is no state capture. He does not understand why such a word is being used to describe when clearly there were certain wrongs that were done between certain individuals. So it'll be very interesting to see over the next couple of hours or even day when the former president will respond to whether he will depose of this affidavit to give his side of the story, because this would have been the one opportunity. I think we were all surprised when the former president, through his lawyers, said that he was not going to put in an application to cross-examine witnesses, because this would have been the one opportunity for former President Jacob Zuma, with all that has been said so far regarding the testimonies of those witnesses, to put his side of the story. So that invitation has been extended. Will the former president accept that? We certainly cannot say at this stage.
One would beg the question then, and I perhaps said this also to you a little bit earlier, why then institute the state of capture inquiry? Because it was under his term that he had actually set it forward, and he then even said it must be done hastily, with emergency. Why then put that forward? Would one insinuate that perhaps there was influence from perhaps the ANC or somebody else? That's
right, Arabella, because you have to look much back if you want to dissect exactly what happened here. Recall, it was at that very time when the then former president of the ANC and former president of the country, Jacob Zuma, was under immense pressure to have something to say and institute this a commission of inquiry into state capture. And indeed, he was the one who went on national television and said he was going to institute a commission of inquiry into state capture. And months and months down the line, he's basically saying there is no state capture. Why are we using such a word to describe wrongs that have been done between individuals? Of course, that's certainly his version of what's going on here. So definitely, if you look at the politics of it, the former president, Jacob Zuma, had been under immense pressure by his organization as well to be seen to be doing something about these vast allegations that he was, including himself, was facing at the time and still is facing at the moment, because many wanted answers to questions from Jacob Zuma about what his involvement was regarding the allegations that were being made regarding his relationship with the Gupta family. Yeah, the Guptas themselves indeed, applying to perhaps get leave to be cross-examined, perhaps via video conference, and that being denied. What message do you think Justice Zondo is sending through that? I think Justice Zondo is really trying to send a message of not wanting to bow down to how the Guptas want this commission of inquiry to be carried out. We heard a lot of words like will not be held to ransom. We will not be told what to do by the Guptas and the manner in which we're going to carry out this commission. Distinctly, Justice Zondo saying that he was not going to give out any special treatment to the Gupta family. It feels
like they've been getting it this entire time.
Well, that's right. I mean, how would you then justify one of the reasons that you put forward for denying this application for leave to cross-examine is that if the Guptas then decided to give their version of events outside the borders of South Africa, if you had a problem with the manner in which the Guptas, or they even decided to pull out of the commission itself, how would you then, as the commission outside the confines of South Africa, be able to hold them to account? So I think Justice Zondo also being very careful once he was handing down that ruling by saying it's by the Gupta's own fault that they are not going to give their side of the story now, based on the fact that they do not want to come into South Africa and testify.
When do proceedings continue again, and who else do we expect to be on the stand?
Well, we resume again on Monday, and we're expecting the banking sector to take the stand to testify on the closure of the Gupta's bank accounts in South Africa. That's certainly going to be very interesting.
That was a very, very big one indeed. Chriselda Lewis, our reporter, of course, basing out and really telling us the details about what had happened out in Parktown at the State of Capture inquiry. We'll continue to look out at that and get some more information. Over to you, Nzinga.
Thanks, Arabile. Home Affairs Minister Mcebisi is still expected to appear before Parliament's inquiry into the nationalisation of the Gupta family today. The committee is busy with the second phase of the inquiry. Yesterday, officials from the Northwest Education and Sports Development Department testified before the committee. Mcebisi told MPs that 33 schools benefited from donations that were given by Gupta-owned company Oak Bay Investments. Gupta-owned companies allegedly used their involvement in the schools as a social responsibility program to justify why their citizenship should